There's been a big development in the fight against Hamas after Israeli forces uncovered one of the largest tunnels used by Hamas terrorists near the border there in Gaza. How significant was this? And are we starting to see perhaps a turning point now in the fighting?
I don't think it's as big of a turning point as a lot of other people seem to think it is. I think it's one of the tunnels that are many. I mean, they say that there's up to 300 miles of these things, and Israel has been working from the beginning to either destroy them from the air or to try to find them on the ground and shut them down. They've even been pumping water into them. I think what this does show, though, is that a level of sophistication that we did not attribute to Hamas up to this point, because this is quite sophisticated, used a very sophisticated boring of equipment. You know, it's not just something that some guys with a bunch of shovels knocked out shortly. This went down 164 feet, and it was very sophisticated how it was put together. So I think that it just shows that this is probably not the only one. It's the biggest one they found, but I suspect that there's probably others like it.
Meantime, we're still seeing attacks at our military bases in the Middle East. Over the weekend, a U.S. Navy ship shot down 14 attack drones launched from Houthi rebels. How concerning are these attacks, and what do you think about the U.S. response so far to this?
Well, look, we just have to recognize that economically, this is a major issue with BP and Maersk and a number of other companies say that they're not going to be going through there for the time being. Lloyd Austin yesterday announcing there's going to be an international coalition that's going to get together to try and, provide some security. But, that's a sticky issue, because what is that the coalition going to do? Are they just going to provide air defense and shoot down any missiles or drones that come in? Will they attack the Houthi locations, which could potentially expand this into different areas? And, it just underscores the difficulty, because the Houthis are saying they're going to continue. In fact, they say they're going to ramp up the attacks once every 12 hours or so, which is going to cause economic problems. And I think that's their intent, is to put pressure on Israel to have a ceasefire by saying that global economy and commerce in the area is going to be affected. And this is not an easy solution to fix, and it's going to cause some problems in the ground there. And I think in terms of your comment about how effective have our actions been so far, it doesn't look like very effective.
Not very effective. And speaking of the economy, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky did not get Congress to agree on this $60 billion aid package. Other countries in Europe also delaying any more aid to Ukraine. So after 2 years of war, what's next?
Dan, look, we just got to come to the knowledge of reality on the ground. This war cannot be won by Ukraine. The longer we ignore that and to try to just keep saying, no, we'll give them more money so they can continue to defend themselves without a plan, it's just going to set, I think, Ukraine up for more disaster and more deaths. And eventually, if it keeps going like this, Russia could actually win. What I think we should be doing now is recognizing that this can't be won, and to start trying to find a negotiated settlement before any more Ukrainian people get killed or cities lost.
Well, speaking of which, we're hearing the situation so dire that the age range right now of soldiers in Ukraine is anywhere from young teens, boys, to even, men in their 70s. What are you hearing?
Yeah, that's right. And they've also, I don't know if you saw this, but the Ukraine side officially is now mobilizing women, which is now adding a new category, which had been off the table for obvious reasons before. But that just shows how desperate Ukraine is for manpower. They have suffered so many casualties, far more than I think has been admitted. But this shows you that they're having to go further and deeper into their own population to try to man these people. And again, that underscores they can't win this. If they couldn't win it with the best of their men, they're certainly not going to win it with the fringes.
30 seconds I've got about right now. North Korea launched an intercontinental ballistic missile yesterday. That range, they're saying, could hit anywhere in the U.S. How should we be responding to this?
Look, they've had this ICBM capability for actually several years now, but this shows that they're refining it. This doesn't really change anything other than to say that we do not need to seek the unattainable diplomatically and say we want the denuclearization of North Korea. That's never going to happen. We need to work towards normalization of relations to lower the tension so nobody uses any of these weapons.